Hello everyone and welcome to the SLP Solution Morning Show. I am your host Carrie Clark with slpsolution.com. Today is Monday, August 27th, 2018, and today I am going to give you an alternative approach to planning your sessions and collecting data. This is an approach that I used when I found that I was doing way too much planning and didn't have time to do it all. So this is an approach that helped me when I was working in the schools, and hopefully it will help you as well. All right, I have my super fun, today's episode is fueled by caffeinated SLP mug. If you're new to the show, I do this every weekday morning, and each morning I strive to have a new coffee mug to show you what is fueling me today. And this one I love. It says caffeinated SLP. It's metal, and this is from my friend Meredith over at Peachy Speechy. She sent this one over. So if you're looking for some fun SLP mugs, go to peachyspeechy.com, and she's got all kinds of fun mugs and t-shirts and fun stuff like that. So this is what's fueling me today, caffeinated SLP. All right, so let's jump in today with our topic. So we are talking about planning and taking data. So what I found when I was working in the schools is that I was trying to plan a whole week of sessions every Friday. And I was like, yes, every Friday I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna plan, it's gonna be great. And then I was also trying to take data through data. I say that differently every time. I'm sorry if you're offended by one or the other pronunciation. But I was trying to take data every session. I would do the therapy and take the data. Usually I had a group of kids, so I'm trying to take data on multiple kids. I'm flipping back and forth in my notebook, and it was a disaster. I felt stressed out all the time. So if you're feeling that way in your sessions, tune in. This is going to be good. So what I realized is that, generally speaking, most of my clients did not make so much progress that we were doing a new thing each week. Usually we'd have to do the same skill for a couple weeks before I'd see the level of progress and mastery that I was looking for to move on to the next skill or to move up to the next level of that skill. So what I found was that if I only took data once per month, that was usually sufficient to capture that progress that those students were making, okay? So if you are used to taking data every day, this is gonna sound incredibly drastic. But think about how much faster progress you could make if you weren't taking data, right? If you just did therapy for your whole session. Well, what I started doing was doing an entire month of therapy with no data collection, and then saving the last week of the month as my data collection week. And so what I would do on that week is I would take data on all their goals, even the ones we weren't working on specifically. Because if you're familiar at all with the research on how children make progress in these skills, we can work on one skill and it might carry over to another skill and they'll start making progress in that area. So really we want to be monitoring all of their skills, but it's really hard to do that when you're taking data every session on everything and trying to do the therapy in between. So what I did was I would do therapy only for the first 3 weeks of the month, and then the last week of the month I would call my data collection week. And what that was pulling the students into my room and drilling through a lot of different skills. Obviously we would make it fun, there would be reinforcement, but the purpose of those sessions that week was just to collect data on all of their skills. Now let's say I see the children 2 times per week, I would break those 2 sessions into the 2 sets of goals. So half their goals I would take the data on Monday, half of them I would take on Wednesday, or whatever the session breakout would be. So I would do that. I would do the data collection for all the students in the group that last week. If we had leftover time, we could do a little bit more therapy. But that way I'm getting a very clear picture of where the students are each month. And that I'm also saving time during the first 3 weeks of my sessions by not collecting data during those sessions. Okay, so I hope you see where I'm going with this now. Also, another key point, there are a lot of programs that do the 3-to-1 model. So that means 3 weeks of therapy, 1 week of without therapy, and that off week is indirect therapy, meaning you're working with the teachers, you're talking to the classrooms, or push-in/generalization type therapy, slash planning, data collection, doing testing, all of that stuff happens in that 4th week. So this is a model, you can look it up online. There's a lot of information about how to do this model. A lot of schools and programs are doing this very successfully, and this would work very well with this approach of not taking data for the 3 weeks, yes, taking data. So let's talk about what that means for planning. Oh, we're back in live. Okay. Hopefully you guys got that. If not, it'll be in the recording that you guys can capture that. Okay, so how does this look for planning? If we're only taking data once a month, then really we can plan for a whole month at a time. So the way I did this when I was working in the schools was that I would sit down at the beginning of each month and I would review the data that I took on that 4th week, and I would see where are we with all of our skills. I would pick the couple of goals or skills that we were ready to be working on, and I would figure out what level we were working on for each skill for each child. So I'd say, okay, for Johnny, we are doing great with working on our Ks. We're ready to move up to the word level. We're going to do, this month is going to be word level. Hi, Maria. This month is going to be word level for K. And then we're also going to be working on are going to be the same plans, and we're going to work on that the same each week for a whole month. Then I'm going to collect data and see where we are and see if we're ready to bump up. If during the process of this you find that you actually need daily notes, so let's say you're doing some sort of insurance billing, or your employer requires you to have data on each session, then you just switch on those 3 weeks that you are doing mostly therapy, you just switch to 1 rating at the end of the session. So let's say you're working with Johnny on K in the word level. At the end of the session, you give it a scale of 1 to 5 on how much prompting he needed to produce that skill. So let's say a 5 would be that he did it completely independently. A 1 was that even with all the prompting, he could not say the word. So you rank the whole session. On average, he was at a 3. He needed visual and tactile prompts in order to say the skill. The next level. You can go ahead and just adapt his plan, just erase it. Right now we're at the sentence level, and just keep moving on from there. You don't have to finish your whole plan, but what this allows you to do is only collect data that once a month and only adapt everyone else's goals once a month. And then if you have the kid here or there that makes faster progress, you can just bump him up without redoing your entire plan, your entire schedule, and your entire data collection. All right, let me check my notes here and see if I'm missing any other points. I think that was all I had. Basically, this is just gonna make your sessions more effective. You're gonna have clearer data collection because you're actually spending a whole week collecting data on all of their skills, and it's really gonna help streamline your processes. So I would love to hear what questions have Dr. Meredith come on, and she's going to be our research correspondent. She's going to tell us what's new in the research in the field of speech-language pathology. So you don't want to miss that one. That's coming up this Friday at 9:30. Tomorrow at 9:30,